We live in very interesting times. It isn't very often that you see the demands of an oligarchy that literally purchased a political party in the United States of America crash up against the strategy for election of that party itself. Hey guys, I'm Will, your favorite rural campaign and elections expert. Let's talk about it. Anytime the subject of race comes up in a debate on social media, it won't be long before you see a Republican make a comment similar to, "Wasn't it the Democrats that supported slavery? Wasn't it the Democrats that unalived Lincoln? Wasn't it the Democrats that put in place the Jim Crow laws of the South?" And the answer to all those questions is yes. However, it leaves out one big factor, and that's the Southern strategy. Very few Republicans know what the Southern strategy is, and even fewer are willing to apologize for it. But just a decade ago, that's exactly what the Republican Party did. It apologized for the Southern strategy, the strategy that turned reliable Democratic states in the South into Republican strongholds. Put quite simply, the Southern strategy is this: play on the racist tendencies of Southern Americans in order to get them to move over to the Republican Party from the Democratic Party, as the Democratic Party became more and more the voice of civil rights in the United States of America. It started with Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan put it on steroids, and it's still continuing today. In the beginning, it reared its head with arguments like, "Hey, look at all of these unqualified African Americans who are taking the jobs of hardworking white people." And today, it simply takes another form. "Hey, look at all of these brown people coming across the border illegally that are taking the jobs of hardworking white and black Americans." It manifested itself in some of the most racist political commercials that we've ever seen. First, when George W. Bush Sr. ran against Michael Dukakis, he put the infamous Willie Horton ads on the air. Willie Horton was an inmate in state prison who had been released on furlough and had done some really awful things, including rape and murder. So George W. Bush Sr. ran an ad on TV with a picture of this black inmate, Willie Horton, and linked it to Michael Dukakis. Michael Dukakis had no such policies in place. He wasn't responsible for the furlough of Willie Horton. There was nothing that he had done that caused what Willie Horton did to happen. But that wasn't the purpose of the ad. The purpose of the ad was to scare white suburbanites into believing that if they elected a Democratic president, then this could happen to them, in the safety of their homes, in the suburbs of this country. It also manifested itself in the jobs arena, when Jesse Helms, running for re-election in North Carolina, ran an ad of just a single white hand crumpling up a job rejection letter. And then an ominous voiceover comes onto the ad and says, "Look at another white person losing their job because of an unqualified black candidate getting the job instead." And the purpose was quite clear once again. If you elect a Democratic president, there'll be more policies that place unqualified black men and women in the jobs that white people deserve. Hell, Republicans have even used the strategy against each other. When George Bush Jr. ran against John McCain in the Republican primary, somebody ran a robocall insinuating that John McCain had an illegitimate black child. Now, it just so happened that John McCain had done what a lot of wonderful people do, and that is he had adopted a child from another country with a different ethnic background. But it didn't matter, because the Southern strategy works. And if George Bush's campaign had to lie to get George Bush Jr. elected, then that's what they would do. And now it continues today. Even though the crime rate among illegal immigrants is much lower than the regular crime rate in the United States, it's easy to throw up an ad saying that these brown men are coming here to unalive and do worse to our women, and white men line up in sync and go to the polls to vote Republican. But something really interesting has happened with the Southern strategy. Whenever the Republicans were making brown people the boogeyman, saying that they were coming across the border to hurt our white women, it was easy for them to do that when the only people that were going to be impacted by deportations were farmers, ranches, the construction industry, and agriculture in general. But now that they've put this racism on steroids, big tech could suffer the consequences. And big tech spent a lot of money to buy the Republican Party and the presidency in this last election. And they're saying no, no, no. So now you have the oligarchy that bought the Republican Party going to war with the racists who run the Republican Party. And the outcome is going to determine worker policy and how effective the United States is in the tech arena in the years to come. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know this. At some point, Americans need to understand that the racist policies and approaches of the Republican Party, the Southern strategy, and the results that it garnered in this country have been bad for America. And there's something else I know as well. Farmers and ranchers and people in the construction industry and agriculture, you need to become aware that this party, the Republican Party, is not out to help you. They're out to take advantage of your worst tendencies, to get your vote for them in any election where they can get it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If we deport all of the undocumented workers in this country, it would mean that 50% of the workers in the agricultural industry would go away. And that, as all the studies have shown, could drive up food prices as much as 2,000 to 3,000%. And the same holds true for the construction industry as well. It could mean that housing prices go up by as much as 300%. I guess I can safely assume that farmers and ranchers and people in the construction industry are okay with the oligarchy getting their way and getting the workers they need to make commerce work in their segment. But we're just supposed to smile and take it. It's time we start voting for our best interest. Let the oligarchs have the Republican Party. We've got another party out there that's been fighting for us since the beginning, and we can't let the culture wars stand in the way of us supporting that party, the Democratic Party. Have a great day.